One of the challenges I have, and to be honest with you, I'm processing a little bit with you. I have conviction that I'm just finding words to articulate. I struggle with the idea that before the cross, sometimes we have this image or this picture of God that before the cross, he hated people. He was just mad at them. But after the cross, okay, now he's happy. That's what's taught. Oh, now he's in a good mood. He was in a bad mood, but now he's in a good mood. And we've got this delineation that the cross was, and the resurrection was the moment that, okay, now God's happy. He can relax and take a deep breath. No, God has always been happy. You're not born evil. It's amazing how many teachings in theology start with that thought. Anytime you start with that, you will create a controlling, manipulating environment. Okay. We're gonna have fun this morning. Every government, every structure, every system, fundamentally and theologically must start with the concept and the idea that people are good and they mean to do good. Even if they're not saved. It has to start from that premise. We have to adjust our perspective of people. Have to realize people are good and they mean to do good.
I had a pastor say some things that hurt me really bad. Hurt me so bad, messed me up emotionally, mentally, really messed me up. Nothing physical, nothing like that. A pastor I really respected said some words and hurt me so bad. And one time I was laying on the floor, actually it was in this room. I'm laying on the floor, and in a vision, in an encounter with God, in a vision, Jesus picks me up and holds me so close that I can't see anything. And he holds me so close, and Jesus starts to weep. And he says, "Please forgive me. Please forgive me." I said, "What are you talking about? Please forgive you." He said, "When that pastor hurt you, it's as if I hurt you. Because he's a member of my body. Please forgive me." And when we hold on to pain from other believers or other leaders or old pastors or old Christians, look, the enemy is called the accuser of the brethren. Any thought that accuses a brother had its origin with the devil. Any pain I hold on to from a believer, any unforgiveness I hold on to from another believer, Jesus actually takes it.
And around that time, Bob Jones had come to Bethel. I think it was his first trip, if I remember right. And our staff was only about 30 to 40 people, a lot smaller than it is now. And we met upstairs in the hospitality room, which was the great room at the time. And Bob wanted to meet with the whole staff, and my parents wanted the staff to get to know him. And so Bob sat in the front, and there were 30, 40 chairs in front of him, and he just did his prophetic talk, and you understand 10% of it, and the other 90, you said, "Lord, I don't understand, but help me to understand." And how many know what I'm talking about when it comes to Bob? It sounds cool, but I don't have a clue what he just said. So he just talked on, and then he said, "I want to pray for each person in here." And so he put 2 chairs in front of him, and then, he would face those 2 chairs. And then he would have you come sit in front of him. And he said, "All right, put your hand up." And so you put your hand up, and he put his hand on your hand. So you're standing there with your sitting knee to knee, hand on hand. Now, that's totally normal now, but then that was not normal. Like, what are we doing? Where's that? And he would say, "What finger do you feel?" Now that got even weirder. Like, what did he say? What finger do I feel? So we sat there. Now, I knew that the third finger represented pastor. And I knew I was not going to feel that one. I speak numbness to that finger in Jesus. We're just sitting there, and I'm sitting there, and you know what finger I feel? I'm like, no, I don't feel that. No. So he's like, what finger do you feel? And And I didn't want to give an answer. I was like, I do not want to tell him, because I know I don't, but I do. You know that? It's probably like 5 seconds, but it felt like 5 minutes. And I said, all right, I feel the ring finger. He's all, yep. And then he went off on this whole thing about pastoring. You know, the Lord's going to teach you how to be a pastor and to pastor people. And I didn't receive it. I'll be really honest with you. I did not receive that word. Like, this guy's way off. He doesn't know me. I'm not kidding. I'm being honest with you. Rebuke the prophet. No, I didn't. I didn't do that. I just didn't want to receive that word. And just to clarify, we both admittedly had a jaded perspective on pastoring at that time. And the Lord completely rewired, and we got a fresh outlook on it. But at that time, no thank you. I'll take any of the other 4 fingers except for that one. And so anyways, so I felt the finger, give me this full prophetic word. So Candace puts up her hand, and I know she was hesitating too, because I know what finger she's feeling. And she kind of stood there and hesitated, and then she said, my ring finger. And then he said, yep, and you're more of a pastor than your husband, and give this whole prophetic word. And she looked at me. I remember looking and going, what? You remember that? Oh, gosh. It was a hard day for us. Totally discouraged. We went back to our chairs like, oh, geez, what did we do that for?